Hello everybody. I'm going to sit here for a bit of earthing, and while I'm here, I am going to discuss energy fields in relation to each sign. If you think of each sign has a certain frequency, frequencies come from the spiritual, the energies emitted from the spiritual sphere. And meets the material sphere. The frequency, the meeting point, is what makes us what we are. Because the matter is where the frequencies solidify into a real person, a real object. So it's the meeting point of the two energies. One is kind of, you could say, blocking or slowing down. Now, personally, I think, with Gemini, for example, Aries, they talk about Aries being instinctive. What's happening is the actual reception of the energy frequencies is so fast that it doesn't have time to be totally assimilated into the cerebral and mental sphere. Well, you can, for example, I think people who are who hear voices may actually be receiving too much input and not being able to place it. Anyway, so going back to what I was going to explain, and I haven't prepared for this, I just decided to do it on the spur of the moment, which is a kind of Aries thing, but also a Gemini thing, because I don't like organising and planning. Anyway, so talking about Aries, and my moon is in Aries. Aries is the sign that encapsulates. What's this man doing over here? Encapsulates the instinctive energy. It's like the energy that has not been worked on, hasn't been processed. That's why they say obviously it's the first house of the zodiac. It's before the spirit has gone through the evolution. So it's saying, here I am a new energy. And no one's told me I can't do what I want yet. So that's why Aries is instinctive. They say sometimes they're impulsive. They can be aggressive. Or they can be courageous. That's the way it's interpreted in relation to the material world. So, for example, at the moment we've got Mars in Aries, and my moon is in Aries. So I am trying to use my inner warrior energy in a constructive manner. Well, I'm not very good at that. I'm a bit lazy and everything, but there you go. But yeah, if you look at all the astrologers, let's say, for example, Steve Judd, they say Mars, Aries, be careful at the moment, you might react too quickly. So that's the Aries energy. It's a Martian energy. Obviously, we're talking about the ruler of Aries, which is Mars, but so they're not always exactly the same thing, the sign and the ruling planet, but more or less, yes, the sign will learn the lessons of the energy field of the ruling planet. Going on to the second sign, Taurus. Taurus, again, I mean, I am trying to understand this. We talk about the houses. It doesn't necessarily mean the progression of the houses might in the sky be exactly an indicator of the soul's evolution. But yes, if we think of Taurus as ruled by Venus, the matter, Taurus is the matter, Taurus is the body, Taurus is the earth. And Taurus is the beauty of the earth. That's how we see it, the beauty of the earth, the sensuosity, the life giver. And obviously Taurus is ruled by Venus. Now, Venus also rules Libra. So that's a bit confusing, isn't it? again, Venus and Libra. Libra is more kind of an intellectual interpretation of Venus, I presume. But Taurus is the stable sign, the one that wants to stay stable. It's kind of like the Aries has projected the energy, and now the Taurus is rooting it. They're a bit, I'm not going to change my mind. I'm going to try this out once I'm sure that that's what it's supposed to be, kind of thing. So, yeah, so if you're a Taurus, I mean, it's difficult, isn't it? Because you could when you make a decision in life, I'll explain another thing in a second, but when you make a decision in life, sometimes it depends. Are you the opportunist, or are you going to take the safe road? And you could always, whichever one you do, you could always win 50-50, or, So if you change at the wrong time, you could actually lose more than 50-50. But I think the lesson for Taurus, and then you have to look where your Taurus is, which house and which planet is ruling, is in your Taurus is in. Sorry, the other way around. Is that whatever you have your Taurus in, or whichever planet is in your Taurus, you are going to try and fight to that's where one of your issues is. It's the same with all signs and planets. That's where your issues are, where you as a person connecting with the material world has to learn how to deal with those type of energy fields, material energy fields. I mean, I've met a lot of people who have, I don't know, Saturn, Taurus, or Taurus, Venus, I don't know, even Uranus, Taurus, but basically Taurus people want to have a house, they want to have property, they want to be financially secure, they want to grow things from the ground. Now, it could be something else, it could be depending on the other planets, but whatever it is, at a certain point, the Taurians will say, you know what, I've used up all my energy and it hasn't worked. I'm going to do something else. I mean, I met a Taurus man who said that he had a house, he had a family, everything went wrong. He just packed up, lost his house, lost his business, whatever, and just went to live somewhere like Spain or something like that. So Taurians will try and try and try. And, you think, oh, well, that's it there, I can depend on them. But obviously even they have their exhaustion point. So as long as you're using your energies in the right way, all of us signs, we know this anyway. We don't need astrology to tell us that. But just be careful, Taurians, is that you don't be using your energies in the wrong place, especially at the moment. Gemini, like me, what they're supposed to say about Geminis. I mean, I know they say Geminis are two-faced, or I don't think I'm two-faced. Geminis have a short attention span. I can agree with that to a certain extent. But then I kind of concentrate on something, leave it for a bit and then go back to it, rather than do it all in one go. Sometimes I do things all in one go, but then I find it more tiring. The problem is if you're trying to do too many things in one go. At the end of the day, sometimes, I mean, I do put a lot of effort into things. I feel like I have probably achieved just as much as someone else. But, the word scattered energy it may be to do with the fact that Geminis, as in Aries, they have a quicker frequency. The brain is going quicker. So you're actually putting more, it's a faster energy, so you're going to wear out quicker. And that's why this is why maybe they say that Geminis are two-faced, because if you go and meet someone, Geminis are so bubbly and chatty, and you're going to meet these people and you're smiling and friendly and chatty and you're receptive and you're listening to their problems and you're trying to give them information or anything related to what they're saying, because that's what Geminis do. They give information. They're connecting. They connect the dots with information. If you're doing that, afterwards you might be mentally exhausted and you just want to go and sleep or just be on your own, or you don't care about anything anymore because you're physically exhausted. So it might seem that the Gemini is two-faced, but it might not actually be that they're two-faced. It's just that they can't always keep up the charade. I mean, if you look, it's amazing. I mean, I'm not a great fan of Donald Trump, but Donald Trump, Ronald Reagan, Obama, there's so many Gemini presidents, even Boris Johnson. They put on this act And I can imagine them though, when they're in private, they might want somebody who can see them as they really are, because obviously the constant acting must be very, very tiring. Especially if you know that's what people want you to be like, like as if he's a president. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about any particular president, and in fact, that's just an example, which may be a wrong example, because I think actually a lot of them are doing what they want, but they still have to put on an act, even if they feel like, oh God, I'm extremely exhausted today. I still have to go up there and do it, that kind of thing. Going on to Cancer. Cancer just wants peace and quiet. They want to feel secure and protected. So that's the energy is of, make the example of the womb. Make the example of, when you're in the womb, you're surrounded by water. So you're nice and protected, and, there's nothing harsh hurting you. They see anything that's harsh as coming in, and yes, they have to put a barrier up, because if you might not realize you're doing it, but if like you want to be connected with everybody as if as if they were part of your body, as if you were all in the same body, but obviously it's difficult to do that in the real world. So they're very, you can say emotional, but it's nice to be emotional. It's nice to express your emotions. So yeah, that's the energy of Cancer. You have to do things to do with the water, relaxing, the sea, rivers. A lot of Cancers go on boats. It's a kind of, a Cancer is ruled by the moon, yes. So be careful when there's a full moon. You can know when your buttons are being pushed, or your strings are being pulled, or whatever. I better go a bit quicker now, or be here all day. So Leo is ruled by the sun. Leo is the energy of it's the 5th house. It's about creation, joy, creation, art, any activities that create happiness. I mean, Leo has an energy which I think in a way encompasses all the houses. A lot of Leos are actually meditation gurus and things like that. They say they like performing, which is true. Because Leo, you can see the sun. The sun is visible to everybody. So the energy that drives Leos is being able to see that you're gaining respect from other people, and that you're being approved, that you're being recognized, you're being maybe even idolized. It's like a kind of love, you're receiving from the public. That's why a lot of Leos go into film production. They want to feel magnanimous. They want to feel that people think that they're good. And yes, they are usually good. You can get the odd one who hasn't has still using that energy in the wrong way. It may be because of the deviation of the mental understanding of what is good and magnanimous. But in general, so it's if they did go in the wrong direction, it would be hard for them. They might be taking a bit too much pride to listen to advice from other people, so you'd have to be careful how you say it. But overall, I think they wouldn't take it offence if you tried to tell them something in general. Going on to Virgo, or extremely looking at attention to detail. That's what the energy of Virgo is. They might not see the whole picture because they're concentrating on the corners of the picture, but at the same time, that sometime it is that one corner, or it is that one loose end that might make the whole picture lose the meaning if you don't fix it. So Virgos need to find the balance of, sometimes just saying, you know what, I don't care anymore. I've spent all day fixing that corner of that drawer, and I could have been out in the park, that kind of stuff. So yeah, if you want somebody to work in, if you want to be happy, Virgo, writing, attention to detail, making things with your hands, they're very good teachers. They like animals. They look after animals very well. They're very thoughtful. They're careful with their diet. They've got a very, very analytical brain. Overall, the very, very good sign to be, but there may be times where they don't value themselves enough. They're too scared. Like, I've met loads of Virgos who, I mean, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but they'd never get married or have children because they're too scared that something might go wrong. I mean, it's not the best time at the moment to talk about that. I mean, I recently had a friend who, he told me that his sister's best friend waited too long to have children because she was worried about not being able to bring the child up properly with her husband, and by the time she realised she did want children, it was too late, but she'd been worrying about the world she was bringing the child into, and that's a very, very typical thing for Virgos to do. But when they do have children, they're extremely good parents. Usually they only have one child though, maybe two, unless they got Leo planets, because that's the sign next to them. Libra just want beauty, beauty in their clothes. You can recognise a Libra from the way they dress, colour coordinated, and they always, the makeup is impeccable. So Libra want beauty in their life, whatever way it is. It has to be a flowing beauty. It has to be, it could be to do with their job, the way they speak to people. They might have these mellifluous voices. They want everything to seem like well-oiled and moving forward in a peaceful, harmonious manner, even if it isn't. That's, as long as it looks like that, that's the main thing. That everything else is irrelevant. Having said that, a lot of Libras have Scorpio planets, but Libra, the analytical side of their brain, because they're extremely analytical. In fact, even female Libras are extremely, they can see everything from a very, very detached point of view. And they often have a very good career, as well as being mothers and home care, looking after the house. Usually they like to delegate some of the harder work, but they are good multitaskers, even though they do like to relax. And they teach their children to be very independent, I think, as well. So the energy that drives Libras is it's a kind of like, if it's a woman, well, obviously a man, they want to be recognised for their intellectual independence and superiority. There's this little girl waving at me over there. And then on top of that, they want to, the way they want to be seen is as people who are representing the beauty of art, of the world. They often work in fashion. Even if they don't work in fashion, they can't understand anybody who doesn't dress in a fashionable way. I mean, it's like bleedingly obvious. You'll see a Libra going hiking in the countryside with golden boots on or something like that. Oh, no, okay, I'm exaggerating, but I am actually basing this on a true story. But okay, next sign, Scorpio. Scorpio's a funny one, isn't it? I like Scorpios, but a lot of people don't. But the basic essence of Scorpio is that Scorpio are looking for the real truth, the real underlying hidden agendas and truths. They do very well in finance. They do very well in psychology. A lot of them are psychologists. If they merge with the spiritual side, because obviously Scorpio is a water sign. If they understand that people can be different to them, then and they accept it, then they can be a full, wholesome Scorpio. And a lot of them, they do very well in the world, and they might hide their feelings sometimes. And also I found the odd case where that's one thing, but in the bad sense is they might not take criticism, and then they might not see their own faults. The real Scorpio the good Scorpio should be able to analyse themselves. But some Scorpios, I don't know if it's to do with the Scorpios ruled by Pluto, but I don't know if it's to do with wanting to control people or wanting to control the situation, sometimes you can't control the situation. Sometimes if you learn how to control yourself first, then, and that's where if they learn that, then they can, that it's them that they have to just control first, and then the situation might come afterwards. But you do find Scorpios who have problems with gambling, alcohol. If they learn how to control their situation, then and they often do, because that's what the planet is indicating, trying to teach them to do, because each planet is trying to teach you a lesson, and that's why you're here, to learn the lesson of that planet. Then they can become very well integrated into their spiritual development. We got Sagittarius. Sagittarius, I love Sagittarians. They are the essence of the big picture and the idealists of something, the words I believe, and I, like whatever theology or whatever philosophy, it's like, let's go the whole way and forget about the nitty gritty. But I love to trip them up, because I say, if you look at the Virgo side, okay, you want the whole world to live on planet Oz. Well, okay, that's an Aquarius thing to say, but anyway, you want the whole world to live in a kibbutz. So then I'd say to them, well, have you thought about, such and such an A and B and C? And they say, well, that doesn't matter. I say, well, it does matter, because if you're going to say everybody who doesn't live in a kibbutz is a ... but they've actually tried it and it didn't work, that's the material world, then that's being judgmental. You should really have to, if you're going to say something, this is the problem. The ideals of the Sagittarian, it's not their fault, but an ideal is that's what it is. It's an ideal that cannot necessarily be translated into the material world, but we still have to take account of it. In the same way, if you want to go to the Milan fashion show and design a dress for Prada made only of 6-inch nails, might look good on the catwalk, but would it be practical in real life? That's the thing. We still need someone to design the dress so that other people will go and copy it and design it into a real life dress. So we still need somebody who's going to say, well, I've thought of a hat or a dress made of 6-inch nails. Okay, that's not a good example, obviously, because who wants a dress like that? But anyway, that's the ideal that they're projecting, because they can see the whole picture. It's like, phew, I can see that. I can see this, I can see that. We can also get extremists for that reason, or extreme opinions. Yeah, and the thing is, when they meet people, sometimes they do that. Like even with me, like I'm a Gemini and I've got some Sagittarius planets. They'll say, oh, I really like you. You're fantastic, blah, 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 blah. And then when they get to know you after a while, they suddenly, I try to let them see my real character. It's like, because they were just seeing the big picture, and that big picture of the way I project might not necessarily be who I am. So it's like with Taurus. A lot of Taurians might like me at first. Oh, I'm in love with you, or I think you're fantastic. And then you tell them things about yourself and your opinions, and they're not listening. They're saying, I might say, well, I don't like people who eat meat. I mean, okay, don't get me wrong, that's just an example. That doesn't mean I don't talk to people who eat meat. And they might be total carnivores. So they might not even listen. I was like, oh, well, I know. The brain is saying, I know, I like that person. I don't care. I didn't really listen to what she was saying there because, okay, she said that, but maybe she didn't really mean it, or I'll worry about it later. All I know is that I like that person. So it takes a while for them to sink in that actually the person that they're seeing in their brain isn't the same person and it's the same with the ideals. It's very easy to say, yeah, let's make a dress out of worms or something. But then if you actually want to do it in real life, there's the Virgo. It's the opposite. Is the well, it's not the opposite in the chart, but you know, it's the Virgo mentality that would say, hang on, how do we get the worms to stay still? You know, it's a bit. For example, you know, recently they started using snails slobber on people's faces. They sell it at Boots, and what they have to do is crush the snail's shells so that they make more slobber. And it's like, whatever you call it, it's really sad, because I mean, I feel so sorry for the snails. But somebody, maybe a Sagittarius, went along and thought, okay, it mightn't have been a Sagittarius, but anyway, somebody didn't like animals, definitely, but said, let's try something. I want something that makes my skin really... Okay, that's probably an Aquarius who said that, but anyway. Okay, let's pass on to Capricorn, because here this video is going to take ages to upload onto YouTube. So Capricorn, well, what can we say about Capricorn at the moment with what's going on in the sky? I remember 2 years ago there was a big alignment of Capricorn, and I had a friend who was Capricorn, and he was a head of a big company. I won't say which company, and I said to him, there is going to be big restructuring here. When they say restructuring, they mean cutting people's... It's called cutting people's head, getting rid of people. But okay, you'll be fine. So at the end of it, and obviously a lot of Capricorns have Aquarius planets. I said to him, I said I was right, wasn't I? I said, but I don't know how nice it is for you to know that you're being given the job, because they had to interview everybody and decide who they were keeping. That now you're doing the job of 4 other people. And he goes, yeah. And 6 months later, he'd left the job. But anyway. So the same thing now, we got the Capricorn restriction, control, manipulation of the energy fields of the masses, like, you know, basically you could say in a way that Capricorn and Saturn are the transcending from the spiritual to the material world in the most material, in the most applicable way you can imagine. The structures are put into place, and then the structures are actually already obsolete even before they get acted on. I mean, for example, when there was the last election in the UK, and I looked up the astrology on YouTube to see who was going to win, the astrologers were saying it didn't really matter, the system would be totally different. So Boris, I mean, it makes me laugh now, because you look at Theresa May. I mean, she's probably having a ball of a time there with her, laughing away at Boris Johnson, what a pickle he's got himself into now, like he didn't expect it. It's funny how Geminis always seem to become presidents when there's a difficult time, because they are very, very, very multifaceted. They can deal with acting for different situations. But anyway, going back to Capricorn, yeah, they're very good at controlling themselves, regulating themselves. They are very. I mean, if you won't get a Capricorn who's an alcoholic, well, not a lot of them anyway, or who squanders all their money on gambling, unless they started off badly in life, because they are a cardinal sign. I mean, they are stuck in their ways. Usually that means that they have an ability to be self-disciplined, in control, and to be able to use their resources in a constructive, very linear manner. Yeah, so if anything, though, they obviously, it's difficult, because I think a lot of Capricorns have Aquarian planets. So it's difficult to say, oh, if you're a Capricorn, that's the way you're going to be, because unfortunately they either have Sagittarian influences or Aquarius influences. Not forgetting that Uranus used to be the ruler of Capricorn, so it's all very confusing. But Capricorn is the planet that is most able to do self-preservation. However, and this is also from my personal experience, is they're not very good at seeing the other, of trying to change their opinions and seeing and seeing the other ways. They can train themselves to do that, and a lot of them do, but they might think that they're being open-minded and they're not necessarily being. So you can get some bias, Capricorns, yeah. So that's what you have to be careful about. It's a very stable energy. It's a very grounding, controlled energy. And that's what's happening at the moment. It's so controlled, and so the Capricorns, the Saturn is like, you got to do things this way. We don't want anybody different. We don't want anybody doing things in another way. Everything has to be organised. That's what's happening. There's the change, there's the evolution. There's a lot of planets in Saturn in Capricorn at the moment. There's big, huge alignment. Woe betide if you're a Cancer. I'm joking, no, it is bad. So let's go on to Aquarians. Aquarians like to look at things from above. I mean, they should really be living in a spaceship or on the top of a mountain. It's funny because they seem like extremely sociable people, and the word human comes into it a lot, but they have this kind of detachment. So the energy of Aquarian is they want to be with people. It's a bit like what's going on at the moment. They want to be with people, but not too close. Their energy field is about kind of like humanity as a whole, as in relation to you could say spiritual evolution. It's a very balanced, kind of look at humanity. The good thing is you won't get. It's like they won't get extremely fanatic or extremely aggressive. They're very balanced, but in that balancing, they're also. You can balance in the wrong direction. If you're in the wrong place, you could balance in the area that's actually not taking into account other things. So that could become set in. They could become set in the ways. For example, if you've got an Aquarius who lives all their life in a tree, they're well balanced in the tree, but they might not have seen a big city or something. I mean, obviously, Aquarians do like to travel, so that probably wouldn't happen. But so I think for Aquarians, I'm not going to say anything negative, anything they need to worry about. I mean, I like the fact that Aquarians can get flashes of inspiration. At the moment, Uranus, which is their ruling planet, is in Taurus, and there's going to be flashes of inspiration to do with the Earth. Now, unfortunately, it is a problem, though. This is what I think. If you are an Aquarius and you want to do something, okay, they do have passion in some things, and they can be ignited by fire signs. But if you're an Aquarius and you don't have a passion, sometimes you might. You still do. You probably still progress at a good rate. Sometimes you do need, in certain circumstances, you need passion to do something. To actually take something on board. Now, last sign, but not least, Pisces. Pisces is a difficult one to decipher sometimes. Again, we've got all the good sides and the bad sides, and I call it good sides and bad sides, but really it's higher vibrations and lower vibrations. This is why I'm earthing at the moment. Haven't been out for a long time. But Pisces, I always think one minute they say something really, really with a meaning, with a spiritual meaning, esoteric meaning, and then they say something that is very superficial. Because they can come across as superficial because they're getting all these inputs of signals of things that are beyond the intellect. And they might not even have applied them to themselves, but they'll still say them. So I sometimes feel like Pisces seem to be hypocrites because they might say oh, you've got to love everybody. And then they'll turn around and say, I don't actually like you because you such and such. And I said, that's what you said, you have to love everybody. I'm there. Don't tell me, don't get me wrong, this hasn't happened to me. I'm just trying to think of a good example. That's not, there are better examples than that, but yeah, in general, and the men, they might say something, you know, about you. Oh, well, you know, I love your this about you or that about you, and then they might turn around and say they don't like that about you, you know, because they're receiving the signals of the images. Like, for example, I write music. I mean, for example, a Pisces man, okay, I think he's got Aquarius as well, recently told me that I'd sent him a song, and he told me, oh, that's really good. You're doing something. Instead of taking from the world, you're giving. And I said to him, well, first of all, when I send you my songs, you never listen to them. And so nobody wants to hear them on the radio. But secondly, I mean, it's only a torture for me to write songs because nobody wants to listen to them. So I'm not giving anybody, nobody wants to hear them in the first place. Same with my stories, because I do all these Gemini things, you know, writing stories, writing music, blah, 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 books, whatever. So, yeah, so I'm not really doing it to give, because I'm really doing it for myself. But they were saying something very esoteric, because usually, or maybe there is some truth in that, when you say giving, you're actually giving a part of your character out. They were saying something that wasn't necessarily their opinion. It was coming in from beyond. And then when they actually put it into their own life, they didn't actually apply it. And this is why sometimes I think Pisces seem to be hypocrites, because to me, that's my personal experience, because they say things and then they don't do them. So I actually said to this man, you know, we nearly had a relationship. I said, why do you lie? When you're making a lie up, first you have to realize you're lying to yourself, and then you can realize that you're lying to someone else. So, for example, like with women, you know, like you might have 5 women on the go at the same time, and telling each woman that the other woman, you know, wasn't really important or something like that. First, you have to lie. That's a bad example as well, because he knows perfectly well he's lying to us and not to himself, but he's trying to keep his eggs, not to keep all his eggs in one basket, so to speak. But anyway, let's not go into other examples of what the type of things he said. But in general, and being ruled by Neptune at the moment, it is a serious problem as well, because we are in a period where everything is, I mean, I have noticed that, you know, one minute, oh my God, this coronavirus, and the next minute everybody's making the image that everything has to go back to normal, and it all seems like you know, one minute you're thinking like it's like a hologram we're living in, you know. So, and then the press says one thing, whether it's the press is only saying their opinion, and you know, you're only getting snippets of information of what's going on in the real world, and you know, it's been interpreted and misconstrued, and depending on what the papers want to sell, and you know, we don't know if can I sit on the grass, or somebody breathed on it earlier. So it's all this Neptunian energy. I mean, I never thought I'd get such a long extended holiday. It doesn't seem real. So with you should be careful of falling into the trap, if you're a Pisces, of living in a reality that you've created that isn't actually real. So every time, you know, you go, oh, you know, I'm going to go and live in Spain. I'm going to escape from here and just go to Spain. Well, actually, fun enough, I've just been invited to Spain by a friend. But, yeah, it all sounds great. But then, you know, will it actually be any better? Will escaping from whichever country you're in, and whichever job you're in, and whichever relationships you're in, going to another country, will it be better? Because Pisces do tend to escape, yeah? They like to escape. And then they get to the other place and they want to be somewhere else. So that's the good thing about that, is that if you're a Pisces, you can empathize. You're not gonna, they don't hate people, but they will, if they think that somebody doesn't agree with the way they see things. It's very difficult to agree with them if they seem to be ambivalent. And this is, I feel, maybe because I'm a Gemini. Geminis don't always get on with Pisces, I don't think. They seem to be ambivalent, but maybe it's the Virgo thing or the Gemini thing, because Geminis will change their mind when they have reached a conclusion and then they realise there's more information to add on. Pisces will seem to change their mind because they're looking at all the different facets of the spiritual and the intellectual. More the spiritual, more the flow of the energies. They can pick it up. So they're not actually saying an absolute truth. They might be saying the different truths, and they don't even. This is one of the things I would like to understand more, because I think it's important. I think in the end of and Geminis know this, most planets probably know this, that the real truth is a balance between what the brain receives and what's external, because the brain is merely a way for us to receive the energy signals coming from the outside stimulating factors, and it can be too slow, and it is only material. So the Pisces might have the key to understanding the further meanings, but they have to know that that's what they are doing. So on that note, I'll have to do another video in the future. Thank you very much.